we could be closer and closer to expansion in the Pac-12. As it currently stands, the Pac-12 is at 7. They need 8 to be a football conference moving forward. And Gonzaga.
Which is kind of fitting considering they're the one basketball school.
Yeah. Well, Pete Thamel and Kyle Bonagura of ESPN, they're hot on the trail of what the Pac-12 is going to do. And this popped up. Texas State appears to be the next addition to the Pac-12.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit on Friday.
Get excited for San Marcos.
I mean, they're better than they were.
Yeah.
Like what? Here, I'll put this to you.
Mm-hmm.
What's the best possible team they could truly get? Texas State, Memphis. Was UTSA on that like a year ago?
Mm-hmm. Well, and then UNLV and Air Force were also in there. And I think that UNLV would have been the best one that you could have gotten.
Regionally, it makes more sense.
UNLV would have made a lot more sense, but they stuck around in the Mountain West for God knows why. Well, more money. But that would have been position A. Memphis would have been position 2. Tulane was in there for a while, but as it is sorting itself out, Memphis is still an option as a football-only school, according to the reporting, and that is a football-only with all their other sports transitioning to the Big East Conference. In Memphis is a no-doubter. I think it was 11 straight bowl games that they've gone to. They have made good coaching hires. It's in a recruiting ground that you want to be in, and that's like if you look at Texas State, they got G.J. Kinney is their coach. Good coach. Actually, one of the rising stars, young coaches. Probably not going to be long for Texas State if he replicates back-to-back 8-5 seasons in San Marcos, which are really damn good. But Texas State is in Texas. And it's right in between. If you don't know where it is, it's smack dab right in the middle of Austin and San Antonio. And that's kind of where they are attractive to you, right? You're in a very fertile recruiting ground. You can go down, recruit kids from Texas. You can tell them that, hey, we're going to be playing in your home state at some point while you're here. Okay? That is valuable to have. Outside of that, they've gone 8-5 the last 2 years. Besides that, they've had one winning season as an FBS program. They've gone 8-5, 8-5, then 4-8, 4-8, 2-10, 3-9, 3-9, 2-10, 2-10, 3-9, 7-5 under Dennis Francione. 6-6, 4-8. It is a school that has struggled. The world needs ditch diggers too, and that is kind of what they would be. They wanted an enhanced payday. They would get that in the Pac-12. But
they know they're needed.
The other aspect of this is that the part of the reporting of Thamel Bonagura was that payday ain't going to be what they were pitched the Pac-12 conference. It's going to come in under $10 million per school, which if you think about it, Memphis, who is rumored to be contemplating a Big East and Olympic sports move and a football move to the Pac-12, they got $11 million from the American. Now, the Big East basketball revenue paired with a football rev share would get them over $11 million. But it's not going to be this haul that is going to get Tulane to say, yep, we want to come out, or any coinciding moves to get UNLV away from the Mountain West. If Memphis does leave the American, the Mountain West could be in quite a pickle, because then you would have Army, Navy, and an opening for Air Force to go into the American Athletic Conference.
And then all of a sudden that gets real dicey. And that's the leverage play you maybe use if you do try to circle back to UNLV.
Yeah. I think the Texas State one, you need an 8th team just to round this thing out. There aren't a ton of great options out there. Go ahead, make that move. Texas State isn't going to hurt you. The question then becomes, is the Pac-12 with that slate of Oregon State, Washington State, Boise State, Fresno State, San Diego State, Colorado State, Utah State, Texas State. Those 8 schools. Are you the leader in the clubhouse for the group of 6 conferences that get an at-large or an automatic bid to the college football playoff? I think you are in a really good position with Washington State, Oregon State, and Boise State especially.
Yeah.
The idea that Fresno State and San Diego State could Fresno could pop back up, San Diego State could pop and have staying power, that is attractive. But that's the position you want to be in, is are we in the group of 6 conversation? Is that schedule good enough to say, all right, that Boise State, that Oregon State team, they're good enough to make the college football playoff? I think it is, because the bottom of the Mountain West is still the bottom of the Mountain West, and Boise State's been playing them for years, and they have cachet and they have credibility.
And now all of a sudden, if you take that from 1 team in the Mountain West to 3 in the new version of the Pac-12, Pac-10, Pac-8, whatever the hell they end up calling this, and then let's give them the benefit of the doubt and say Fresno State and San Diego State do cycle up and at least have relevancy. Not peak Fresno State teams that are giant killers, or San Diego State having a 10 or 11 win season, but just say that they're continual 7 to 9 win teams. Now all of a sudden you went from 1 or 2 to 3 to 4 or 5. How many other of the lesser conferences can say they have 3, let alone potentially 4 or 5?
But this is always the question: is that good for your group of 5? Because dominance is what gets those group of 5 or now group of 6 conference teams in. And you need to have 1 or 2 of those games, but this is a conference that's lining up to be 4, 5, and 6 of those games where it's like, oh, those are pretty solid and they can bite you, where you just need to rack up wins. And that this is where it's like the damned if you do, damned if you don't in the group of 6 world. Hell, you could take that out of it when the Pac-12 was a Power 5 conference. Look at the College World Series. Oregon State, Arizona, UCLA, all in Omaha right now. This isn't because Arizona all of a sudden went to 6 months of being in the Big 12 and their fortunes changed. No. It wasn't because UCLA went to the Big 10 and was like, hey, look at us. We figured this out. No, it was the middle of the pack of the Pac-12, whether it was football, where you saw Arizona State go to the college football playoff in their first year in the Big 12. You saw Oregon go 13-0 in the Big 10 in their first year. The Pac-12 never got enough credit for how good the middle was. The middle was good. And they cannibalize each other. And when you're out west, people just go, it's just not very good.
Yeah.
It's just not very good. Whereas the SEC and the Big 10, they get the benefit of the doubt. And they're like, no, they are pretty good. By the way, Colorado, which was a disaster in the Pac-12, they damn near won the Big 12 too.
They had an opportunity to win the Big 12.
That was always my argument about the Pac-12, and it makes me feel good that, unfortunately, when it all blew up, that all of those schools
were good.
Actually did something with it. They actually did something with it when they left, and exception of Cal and Stanford, who were on the outside and they got a life raft from the ACC.
But Stanford is wholly different because they were very good for a very sustained period of time, where Cal is Cal.
Now, if Memphis does in fact come over and they are a football-only member, I think there's no doubt about it. That's the best damn group of 6 conference out there, and they should be getting the benefit of the doubt over the Sun Belt, the Mountain West, the AAC, the MAC, and they
as much as we love our
MAC
action, but they should
Conference
be
USA,
the next one there.
But as it stands right now, it's a 8-team conference, so you play 7 conference games. You probably have a rival built in there where you either play 2 games. So Oregon State would play Washington State twice. Fresno State would play San Diego State twice. Boise State and Utah State play twice. And you go some machination of that just to get to 8 conference games.
And then their non-con, Oregon State plays Oregon, Washington plays Washington State.
And you get four non-conference games. Like you're forced into even if Memphis does come along, and they're saying that would be in 2027, I think is when it would be that they would come over. If Memphis does, you still have an 8-game conference schedule that has balance. You play everybody in the conference, and then you still have 4 non-conference games where you can say, all right, it's our year to kind of make a statement, and you play that Boise State route where they're like, we'll take it on the road.
Yeah.
You want an extra home game? We'll go play it.
Cool.
Georgia, we'll go play you in the kickoff classic in the Georgia Dome and just see what we got. We'll go play Oregon, and we'll go play USC or Ohio State, and you take all comers when you know that is your year to ramp up and you need a quality win. Or you need a tight game,
yeah,
like what Boise had this past year at Oregon.
Yeah, 100%. And that's that. Again, we've been talking about this now for 2 whole years plus. The future of whatever Pac insert number here turns into, and this is it coming to fruition in one vein or another, where you kind of look at it and go, "Is this something that I can grab a hold of?" And it's more than a life raft. Like you're back on the boat now. Now, you're not sitting, if you're using the cruise ship analogy, you're not sitting in the penthouse suite with the big overlook of the ocean, but you're not in the cellar. Like you've got a deck level view with a small window.
Yep.
You don't have the wraparound porch, but hey, this is fancier living. This is more comfortable. You're not sitting in the hammocks and the bunks and like Navy style, sharing beds with everybody on different shifts. You're living not the good life, but the better life. And I'm not saying that as like you should be happy, Oregon State, Washington State. You shouldn't be. But this was always the path of like, just keep it going until you get like, stretch the rations, make them last until you get pulled back onto the boat. And this feels like them getting pulled back into the boat.
And I hope we're there.
Yeah.
I hope we're there.